So you want to make your PvP character. Really, there's only two things you need to focus on: what weapons and items you want to focus your build around, and where those items can be found within the game. And you will need to find a way to farm some blood echoes. The first point is fairly simple. Every weapon in the game is viable to an extent, so you should choose what your favourite looking weapon combination is, or whichever one you think has the best moveset. That's all down to personal preference, and you can experiment as much as you like. Just find out where the items you need are located by searching the wiki or just playing through the game, and then you can move on to step 2. Farming. You're going to need to farm the materials that you'll need to upgrade your weapons to the point where you're satisfied with them. Firstly, let's look at farming for upgrade materials. There's 4 types. Bloodstone Shards upgrade your weapons to +3, Twin Bloodstone Shards upgrade your weapons from +3 to +6, Bloodstone Chunks upgrade your weapons from +6 to +9, and Blood Rocks upgrade your weapons from +9 to the legendary +10. Bloodstone Shards are incredibly easy to get, so I'll skip past them and we'll take a look at where to find some Twin Bloodstone Shards and Bloodstone Chunks. There's a fair few enemies that drop these. For example, these beasts in the Yahargul Unseen Village will drop Twin Bloodstone Shards very often, about 90% of the time, but they also have a chance of dropping Bloodstone Chunks. Bloodstone Chunks have a much smaller chance of dropping. They're more rare. That's just how it is. Another good location is here in the lecture building. Once you get past these crawling enemies, you'll find a giant with flaming hands. He's really close to the lantern actually, so it's a pretty quick run each time. If you kill him, he'll drop Twin Bloodstone Shards most of the time, but he can also drop Bloodstone Chunks. As you can see in this clip right here, I got pretty lucky. Now, Blood Rocks are the rarest of them all by far. You only get 1 per playthrough, and it's found in the Nightmare Mensis, although you can get more from Chalice dungeons. And then of course the main point of this video, you need to farm blood echoes so that you can level up to an appropriate level for PvP, which is going to be somewhere between 80 and 110 for most people. Now there are plenty of areas throughout Bloodborne that are great to farm blood echoes, but I'm going to show you one of the best ones, if not the best. It's in a very late game area, which makes sense because once you get to the end of the game, that's when you're going to be finalizing your character, so you need good spots to farm then. Alright, so what you want to do is go to the shop in the Hunter's Dream and buy as many Bolt Hunter marks as you can. These will help to make your runs as efficient as possible. Then you want to go to this headstone and travel to the Murgo's Loft middle lantern. And once you've warped, this is where your run starts. So you just want to copy what I do in this video, and I've put a timer on the screen just so that you can see how long this run actually takes. But trust me, it's pretty fast. So the more damage you can put out, the better obviously, because then you'll be able to defeat the enemies quicker, which results in faster runs. But it doesn't matter too much. As long as you can defeat these lesser shadows of Yharnam and a couple of piggies, you'll be good to go. So I personally like to start off with the dual blade spam. It's really great at staggering both of them together, and it stacks up damage so fast that you can kill them before they even attack. So that's given us almost 5,000 blood echoes. And now we're going to make our way up to this ledge to take out the fire casting shadow. I switched to the cane for some extra reach because this guy likes to jump out of range quite often. So there we go, we've taken him out, and so our next target will be the unsuspecting pig. Now most people would probably try to backstab it on the stairs, but it's actually better to hit it with a running attack first to push it forward a bit and then charge up your backstab. Firstly, this method does more damage, and secondly, sometimes when you try to backstab an enemy on stairs, it doesn't work because the terrain levels don't match up. Now these pigs are going to be the main source of echoes. As you can see, they gave almost 10,000 echoes each. Alright, so now we've run between the next 2 pigs, we're going to look back and make sure both of them follow us. If you don't wait a bit, only one of the pigs will follow you, which is not what you want. Then you're going to run to the left, to the top of these stairs, and pick off any shadows that get too close to you. What you're aiming for is you want the pigs and shadows to fight and kill each other, which makes your job easy because then you get free echoes essentially. So right now most of them are dead, we can take care of this guy, and there's only 2 left. The pig has a bit more health, so that's who I focus on taking out first, but in fact the shadow takes the final hit, so then I can run in and just clean up. So that ended up taking about 1 minute and 35 seconds. Obviously some runs will be quicker, some will be slower, but this is just an example, a test run sort of thing. We also ended up with just over 45,000 blood echoes. By using this method, you could easily get well over 1 million echoes in less than an hour. So obviously once the run is complete, you just use the Bold Hunter's mark to return to the lantern, and then you can start all over again, and rinse and repeat until you get the desired amount of souls you need. So just to recap, when you're thinking about making a build for PvP, firstly focus on what weapons or items you want to design your build around. Once you have those weapons, find out what stats the weapons you've chosen scale with and level up accordingly. I would go to around level 100 or 110 if you want to be able to match up with most people, or whatever level you feel most comfortable with. It doesn't really matter. If you aren't at the level you want to be at yet, then pick any farming method you like the look of. I showcased one in this video, but there are plenty more to choose from. And I would probably upgrade your weapons to at least +7, so pick some farming methods for upgrade materials as well, and then you should have all the basics covered and more or less be good to go. Thanks for watching everyone. This wasn't intended to be a really in-depth guide, I just wanted to give a brief overview of how most people will design their PvP builds. I know for a lot of Souls veterans most of this video will have been really obvious, but I also know that there are a lot of new people who have just started enjoying Bloodborne, and so hopefully this will have given you an outline of where to begin if you were thinking of trying out Bloodborne PvP. Now if you've played Bloodborne at all, you will know that backstabs are now much harder to pull off than parries, or visceral attacks as they're called. In PvP, they're almost impossible to pull off, because your opponent has to be facing directly away from you and stay like that long enough for you to fully charge your attack. But maybe it's not quite as impossible as everyone thought.
Backstab in the PvP. Get wrecked, boy. Get wrecked.